Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Education and Training group. This is the first survey that you are going to receive from this group. For all the affiliates, I would like to recognize that at the beginning, the amount of information, mails, surveys that you receive is totally overwhelming. So we did work in the last years trying to make this information, mails, and survey more understandable and more useful. And I hope that you will find this featured in this survey. What we are trying to know from this survey is your interest in education and training. Not only what you expect from transplant child, but also what you can offer to transplant child, because all major centers involved in transplantation, of course, have several very good initiatives in education and training. So please let us know what you are actually doing for years, and somehow we can try to improve transplant child with these activities. So this survey is an individual survey that everybody is going to fulfill individually. So it's not to talk about the whole center. This is directed to this focus in the personal activity in transplantation. First of all, of course, people need to identify themselves by the email address and the name of the center. We are going to start. We have separate surveys for nurses and physicians. The first one we're going to see is nurses. So this is the personal profile that you can you need to define as much as possible. And the following topic is how many years have been working in pediatric transplantation. You can see here that you have several types of solid organ or bone marrow transplantation. You can click as many boxes as you feel that you're involved. And in the time that you have been working in transplantation, please select the first one. Meaning that for people that is working in, for example, liver and kidney, if you started kidney 20 years ago and liver 10 years ago, just specify that is the longer period that you can specify. In this case, it would be just 5 years. The unit in which you are currently working is the name of the center. And going with the following questions after your personal identification. We decided some time ago to divide the activities of transplantation in 3 phases: pre-transplantation, transplantation procedure, and post-transplantation and outcome. All classifications, of course, are artificial, but we need a taxonomy. We need to an agreement on how we call things. This is something that we have learned in the process of the development of a transplant child. So for those that might feel that this classification is artificial, please understand that we need it because it is useful for this type of surveys, for the activities, and just to have a common language and how we call things. The following 3 questions are following this division: pre-transplantation, transplantation, and post-transplantation outcome. This is the first boxes, and these are the activities in pre-transplantation: donor organ graft selection, issues in living donor, ethics, legals, etc. So on. And this is the score. This is the same score for all questions that are following below, from 1 with more interest to 8 with less interest. Again, this might sound artificial, and people might ask why not from 1 to 10, but this is the way we selected because it is important for the later analysis to use this particular scale. So you can select as many boxes as you want. If you are involved in all of them, of course, you can select them, but in this case, the information probably will not be so useful. So think about that if you are really involved in all of that, and make an special effort to think about the real interest of each of them. The following question is the transplantation procedure. This is more related to people involved in the operation itself, the surgical procedure, immediate preparative management, graft organ manipulation, infection prevention, intravenous therapy, etc., etc. And again, probably you are involved in all of them and you can click in all of them, but not in the same, probably they don't have all the same score. Probably the interest for education and training is different for all of these areas. And the following one is after transplantation, and I'm not going to repeat. You can see that you have different topics, all of them related to post-transplantation. This is the biggest part of the survey, but it's not going to take probably more than 5 to 10 minutes to fulfill. The following question is which training method would be most effective for you? Of course, you can select all of them, but because they are complementary. Face-to-face, video, internet, reading, and other. Then, if you are number 4, if you are running and planning any education and training program that could be interesting for our scope. As I said before, it is very important for us which are your interests in education and training, the thing that you expect from transplant child, but is as much important. It's equally important to know what you can offer to transplant child. I know you all are, even being new affiliates, you are not new in transplantation. You are all big centers with a lot of experience, and I'm quite sure that you have your own experience and your own running programs in education and training. So please let us know how we can improve transplant child with your current activity or your past activity in education and training. You can click here if you have a running or planning an education and training program, and please specify as you can here the name or the time or the focus of the activity. And the same for the following question, number 5. Any program or platform that could be interesting for our scope, and please specify here in the following box. This is free text. You can write here what you want. And of course, even with the bigger surveys, there is always something missing. Then if something important for you is missing, you just need you just come let us know in this box number 5 if you have any other comments, and finally just submit the survey. So no more than 15 minutes. The survey for physicians is very similar to the nurses survey. Personal identification, again, you can be involved in many of the activities, and you can be involved in all of them, like I don't know, immunologists and anesthesiologists, or some people with a more general participation in transplantation. The division is the same: pre-transplantation, transplantation, and outcome. The topics are slightly different from the nurses, but the let's say the philosophy is the same: pre-transplant, transplant, and post-transplants. Question number 2D is different from the previous survey because we have here the transplant research activity. biomarkers, new therapies, novel tools, concept of clinical and translational research, European platform, and funding EU calls for research. As for the previous classification, these topics are not aleatory. In fact, they were selected after several surveys that we performed in previous years with the research. Of course, nurses are also involved in research, and even if they don't have this question in their questionnaire, they can let us know their interest in research in the comment box. Number 3, biotechnology and medical areas in which you are interested. You can check all that apply, surgical procedure, PCR, microbiological tests, etc., etc. The method of training, as in the previous survey, you can select all of them. And if you have running, planning, education, training programs, platform, etc., you can specify, and not that you can, that you should specify these in these boxes here in number 5 and number 6, and finally comments and submit the survey. Again, no more than 15 minutes, even if you have a big commitment to transplantation, even if you are focusing in many areas, it's no more than 15 minutes. So we hope that this amount of information is not so overwhelming. We believe that this survey is going to be very useful, but it depends on the response that we get from the survey. Thank you very much, and we hope for our for the response to the survey.